Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we've got a new Decidueye to talk about, but it's not really just a new Decidueye to talk about. We've got a Decidueye line to talk about. You see, we've got Decidueye, but we've also got Dartrix, and there is an argument that Dartrix is better. Although, just before we get going, there's also a Rowlet. I'm going to sit here for the next 10 minutes and try and explain to you that Rowlet is some kind of broken card. It ain't. But it does have a useful little attack. Single energy, draw a card. It's not particularly good. It's not particularly great or any stretch of imagination at all. But I will tell you, turn one, going second, if you don't have anything else going on, draw a cheeky extra card. It's not amazing, but it is at least, you can see yourself using it occasionally, put it that way. But why did I say Dartrix is the more exciting one? It's got United Wings. Honestly, it's got United Wings. And United Wings, like there was a random top 64 at a regional for United Wings, but it's not exactly set the world on fire. And to be clear, the single energy 30 damage is garbage, nobody cares. But United Wings has always had potential. I am not claiming that United Wings is some brilliant, amazing card or deck. Hasn't been up till now. But I absolutely am claiming that United Wings has some potential and could end up being pretty gosh darn cool. Of course, United Wings is the attack whereby you do 20 damage for each Pokemon in your discard pile that has United Wings. Up till now, it's not been good enough, and there's a couple of reasons why it's not been good enough. But two of the main problems are slightly solved here. Problem number one, the damage output has been a little bit too low. And problem number two, weaknesses. So up till now, we've only had 3 Pokemon that actually have United Wings. We've had Wattrel, Murkrow, and Flamigo. Now, we have had the Kilowattrel that came around in Paldean Fates, which does actually have another attack we'll get onto in a minute because that's really important. But we've only had 3 Pokemon with United Wings, which is super annoying because it means that you've got a maximum 11 Pokemon with United Wings in your discard pile. 1 attacking, 11 in the discard. That's basically the best we've managed. Now, yes, fine. Obviously, you can use Ditto to copy one of their attacks, and then you can actually have 12 in the discard. That is possible. But then the problem with that is that you're using a 70 HP Ditto to attack. You're never hitting for weakness. It's not exactly a perfect situation, right? It's not exactly worked out brilliantly. So we've been in this awkward situation where we can basically hit lightning weakness with Wattrel and darkness weakness with Murkrow. And we've basically had 11 or 12 Pokemon with United Wings in the discard pile. And that's it. Fun little side note, all the 3 Pokemon with United Wings, they all got shiny versions in Paldean Fates, which I think is rather lovely. Well, now we add in Dartrix, and yeah, it's a stage 1, and that's actually kind of super annoying. But then again, is it? Because United Wings is basically Night March, and Night March had Lampent. And Lampent was actually great as a stage 1 with this attack, because you know what you never did with Lampent if you didn't want to? You never started Lampent. Because it's a stage 1, you can't start with it. So, look, I'm telling you about the rest of the evolution line. We're going to keep talking about this, don't worry. But one option you need to remember with Dartrix here is you can literally just put it in your deck as discard fodder. And you put 4 in your deck just to discard them. And that's all you ever do. They're in your deck, you discard them for extra damage, that's it. Now, I still think there is, like I say, I think the Rowlet has got a decent attack. And we're going to get to the Decidueye in a minute, and that's got a decent attack. And I do think there is an argument here for playing the full evolution line. I think there is enough benefit that can be gained from it. But one option you've got here is just boost your damage output. If you want, you could see this as 4 extra cards in your deck, 80 extra damage with United Wings, let's go. That is absolutely fair and valid. But what if you are partial to evolution? What if you're fine doing a bit of the old evolving up? Well, that's where things get very interesting. Obviously, you've got Rowlet's attack I've mentioned, which can be useful. It's drawing one card. Drawing one card isn't exactly good, but like I say, you've got nothing else, turn one go. And to be fair, you should. You should be using United Wings for some damage, turn one going second, because the 3 Pokemon we had previously are all basics. But, you know, it's an option. But you're hitting grass weakness. And Charizard's weak to grass. And Charizard's really good. And Charizard sees a bunch of play. And with decks like this, with the HP we got around at the moment, like Night March was 20 times. This is 20 times. But HP has gone up massively since the days of Night March. So one of the problems we've got here is a low damage cap. And one of the ways we fix a low damage cap is hit with weakness. And now we got Murkrow hitting for dark, Darkness, Wattrel hitting for lightning, this hitting for grass. It is worth evolving up so that you get that extra weakness that you're hitting. And that is a good reason. You can just use it as discard fodder to make a super speedy United Wings deck. But you only need to play like 1 or 2 Rowlet, probably 2, because if you play 1, you bench it and your opponent KOs it. But you only need to play a couple of Rowlet, and then all of a sudden you play a Buddy Puffin, and then next turn you can evolve up, single energy, and you're hitting a very good weakness. I do think it is worth it, because you're hitting a different weakness, it is worth playing around with this. And this is probably as good a time as any to mention the Kilowattrel. That's the one that for a single colourless energy as a stage 1 does 10 damage for each Pokemon in your discard pile that has United Wings to any one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, not the active, but any of their bench. And actually, now all of a sudden, instead of tapping out at, well, you're going to need a Wattrel underneath this to evolve. So instead of tapping out at 11, 110 damage, you're tapping out at 15, 150 damage. Still far from perfect, but 150 snipe for a single colourless energy is pretty good. This makes me pretty happy. And we do have Decidueye as well. Decidueye, you got the single energy first attack, just lets you draw until you've got 7 cards in hand. I like this when you're desperate, but I don't like it on a stage 2. Because if I'm using this attack, I've got to have evolved up into a stage 2. If I'm playing a United Wings deck, realistically, I'm probably not relying much on Rare Candy because I want Dartrix. That is the best part of the evolution line for me here. So, yeah. If I've evolved twice and I'm using this attack to draw, might not be amazing, if we're honest. Sorry. But I really like single grass energy, 170, discard a grass energy from your hand. And it has to be from your hand. So it's a grass energy to do 170, and then you have to discard a grass energy from your hand in order to do this attack. If you don't, the attack fails. Now, 2 very important points to note about this. Firstly, KO's Charizard. And this is obviously deliberate. Charizard's got 330, so if this did 160, it wouldn't KO. Oh, look, it happens to do the exact perfect amount of damage to KO Charizard with weakness. Obviously it does. But you have to discard a grass energy from your hand to use it. Which actually gets super awkward if you're trying to use this as a United Wings deck. Because you're going to be playing Double Turbo. You have to play Double Turbo for Wattrel and Flamigo. Gotta be done. Although there's an argument here that Flamigo then becomes your worst attacker because it's the only one that isn't hitting for weakness and it's reliant on Double Turbo. But then again, the ability Insta-Flock lets you search out the rest of your Flamigo, which you'll then discard, but you're going to have to bench one of them. So, yeah. You need to be playing Double Turbo, and then of course you need Darkness Energy for Murkrow. So now you're playing Grass Energy as well, and you really want to try and just play a few for Dartrix, but now you kind of need one to attack with a Decidueye and one to discard, and that is where it gets a little bit awkward. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying that if you're playing like a full-on dedicated Grass Decidueye deck, it's going to be super easy. But if you're playing a United Wings deck and leaving Decidueye in there as a single energy KO on Charizard, or an early KO on Charizard if you don't have enough United Wings Pokemon in the discard, or whatever, the attack will fail sometimes because you might not have enough grass energy. Overall, I'm giving this whole thing 4 Wassies. This made United Wings a billion times better. And I'm not saying it makes it great. And I'm not saying it makes it a top tier deck. And I'm not saying it makes it good enough. But I absolutely am saying that having another 4 Pokemon with United Wings and having something that can hit for a new weakness within the deck alone is great. And then you've got everything else you're building in as well. I'm just saying this card makes a big difference. This was worthy of a reveal. But now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about United Wings up to now. Tell me if you think that United Wings is suddenly becoming a much bigger deal. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Get us! Me nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassie. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely Kiridan, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.